Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome back to 4Strategy Gaming. I'm going to be commentating a game for you today between Adel and Nerchio. Nerchio right here on the 9 o'clock position as our red Zerg, and in the 12 o'clock position we do have Adel as the orange Protoss. So Protoss versus Zerg, we are here on Metalopolis, and today I'm going to be casting a few games for you guys, so hopefully you are looking forward to that. I know I certainly am. Like a Boss video did come out yesterday, so that's quite thrilling as well. Also got some Diablo stuff in the works. Been a busy day, and this is actually going to be I think there's going to be about 3 or 4 games posted today, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyways, we do have Adel coming out with that pylon placement right at the front there, of course, for that frontal wall off. Not going to be seeing a whole lot from Nerchio at all. We can see him cutting his Overlord to a little bit of an angle. You can actually see he just went down, and we're probably going to see him pull to the right once he does actually spot the edge right here. He's probably going to go up to about this concave right here. You can see my mouse moving along it, but once he hits that, when he doesn't see the Nexus, he's going to be pulling on over to try to get that Overlord to another base position. Again, Nerchio not doing anything at this point in time. Given these close positions, very likely to see some early aggression. It, of course, makes it difficult to expand beyond that first natural expansion. Just because your natural third is so close to your opponent's base when you're in these close positions, the high yield, very wide open and hard to take. And if you take any bases on this half of the map, very easy for your opponent to drop them in most situations. So we can see right now, Drone Scout actually pulling straight across, and Nerchio didn't end up moving that Overlord Scout at the typical time that you'd expect to see, but Drone Scout's gonna be moving on in. Gonna be interested to see if he does decide to go for a gas steal. Gas steal against Protoss, very effective. Nearly all Protoss builds, except for the early expand builds or like 4 gate 1 gas. Most standard Protoss builds are going to involve getting a second gas, like I said, unless there's a fast expansion or some kind of early push. So if you can deny that, that's actually a really good method. And look at this, Nerchio actually blocking off the ramp here, and this is going to delay that placement of the Cybernex core, if only for a few moments. Deciding finally to pull back once he does see the Cyber core was being dropped there. I think now he might be trying for that gas steal actually, and there we go, trying to come down, and the gas steal, no, deciding not to, pulling back in fact, and worried about losing it. Adel does go ahead and decide to drop that assimilator, but the fact that Adel doesn't have a wall off is actually a pretty big problem. He's going to need to get either his robo or a second gateway, whatever he's doing. He needs to get that up sometime soon. We can see Zerglings already making their way across. Metabolic boost going to be starting very soon and pumping out Zerglings. We've got one drone coming out. Let's see what he does with the next larva. Also, that queen just about finished right now. So going to be continuing up that droning. He wants to test that front gate before he does anything else. Again, 4 Zerglings making their way on through. Now we do have the Probe Scout moving down. Going to be seeing that Expo go up. But this is a little bit of a problem because those Zerglings free to roam right inside of the main base of Adel. Adel, that may have been a huge mistake not going for that frontal wall. Finally, there we go, coming down with that second building. It is a gateway and not a robo. But Zerglings running through the base there. I think we do have 1 drone kill already. 2 units killed, and 3 units killed, and they've all been workers. So good job on Nerchio killing 3 so far, and that's actually a pretty significant deal this early in the game. That's going to set back Adel a little bit, and going up with the harassment, he's going to get another one. No, very close there. Some excellent micro we're seeing here from Nerchio, doing a great job against Adel, stopping mining, and there we go, another worker killed. And look at that, Adel is not impressed at all. We do need Adel to finish the wall off. I was thinking maybe a second zealot, but he's going to just be getting that second sentry and using that to deal with these Zerglings. But this Zergling harass has been incredibly effective. Finally, the last of the Zerglings have dropped, but look at that. 4 workers killed for Nerchio. Excellent job there. You can see right now his Expo just about ready to pop, transferring down some workers. Metabolic boost almost finished. We got that Roach Warren right now, so going to be transitioning into Roaches. And that, of course, is going to be very effective against what he knows is a gateway-heavy army. I'm pretty sure he did see the 3 gateways. Let's take a look there. No, he just saw the 2 going down, but the fact that he saw a second gateway and not a robo right after that first gateway does let him know that roaches early on can be quite effective, because obviously against any gateway-heavy build, that is going to be the case. So here comes a push right now. Nerchio moving down. This is actually more of a scouting maneuver, if nothing else. He wants to see expansions. He sees the lack of that. Oh, actually denying the placement of that expansion. That was really nice there. You can see as a result, Adel is floating some resources, boxing himself in too as well. He was trying to prevent those Zerglings from killing off that worker, but ended up boxing himself in, and finally now going to be able to move out and try to drop that. Oh, I would have loved if that got denied again. That would have been absolutely hysterical. Some really solid harassment this early in the game from Nerchio. Definitely really impressed by his early game micro and his ability to kind of mix things up here and try to mess up his opponent. Spreading out those Zerglings, he wants to see if a push comes from this avenue or over here. This, of course, putting them in two different positions, going to give him that most probable scenario of scouting it. But look at this. Big push coming down. Lots of Zerglings. Take a look at that unit tab right now. We've got 8 Roaches and 11 Zerglings getting ready for a push right now, trying to take advantage of the fact that Adel did just try to expand. If Nerchio can hit him pretty hard right now, there's a good chance he could do significant amount of damage. Now, it's going to be hard with these sentries and force fields. He needs to be very careful about not getting his units caught out of position. And here comes the push right now. Like I said, needs to be wary of those force fields because this could be much more dangerous than he would like it to. Roaches, though, going to be able to do significant damage. Getting trapped right there. Nerchio going to be losing a lot of Roaches. That's a big problem. Those force fields are just about to dissipate, though, and what's left of Sentry doesn't have a lot of energy, and there is still enough forces right here for Nerchio to do some damage. Going to be re-rallying some more Zerglings. We got another Roach coming out of 14 Zerglings. We can see there hasn't been drone production in quite some while, so Nerchio definitely pushing this very hard. He wants to do a lot of damage right here. We have the 4 gateways up, the 4th one being turned into a warp gate right now, but here comes the push. Roach is leading the way. Zerglings going to be bringing it right up the rear. Going to try to target fire down that. Again, keep in mind these sentries are pretty low on energy. There's not going to be nearly as many force fields as we saw in that last engagement. That was a great job by Adel, though, at stopping that engagement. I really like that trapping of the Roaches that he did. Trying to pull back, needs to be careful. Ended up losing that one Roach. He was being a little bit too greedy trying to grab that pylon. Got very close to dropping it, but didn't quite have enough. And here we go. We're seeing reinforcement again. Still no drone production in quite some time. So we can see Nerchio definitely looking to push hard. Needs to be careful again about those force fields, though. Sentry starting to regain some of that entry. Zerglings trying to move around. Some nice force fields, though. That helps a lot. There are a lot of Roaches. They are within range, and most of those sentries, they're going to be target firing those down. We have a few Zealots being warped in over here. That's not going to do too much against those Roaches. And those Zerglings, now that the force fields are down, going to be able to stream on in. Needs to be very careful. Adel trying to pull back with that sentry, and if he loses that, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, and he did. Pulling down with some of the probes. He has taken heavy losses. Needs to warp in some units to the high ground, but no, just calls the GG. Realizing that he just lost that expo, there was nothing he could do to defend against it, decided to just call the GG. His only saving grace is actually not being completely taken out of the game, of course, would have been a sentry in the high ground to force field the ramp. But even with that said, it wouldn't have mattered because clearly at this point in the game, again, he has lost this expo at this point. So as a result, that's such heavy losses. He would have lost these 2 gateways here as well. And the major thing here was that Nerchio found that opportune time. He just cut all drone production and pushed really hard with Roaches and Zerglings, and you can see just how effective that was. Adel just didn't have enough to support and defend it. The other big thing too that Nerchio did is he made his attacks in 2 waves, forcing a lot of use of that sentry energy in the first push, then pulling back and swarming in with a second when those sentries didn't have quite as much energy and weren't able to force field quite as effectively. So great job there between both players. Going to be moving on to another game, and actually it's going to be another game between Nerchio and Adel, so hold on tight, and I'll be bringing that to you in just one moment. Oh yeah, and as always, guys, keep watching and keep owning. Unit right in there and blocked. There we go. But the big problem is that we're going to have Zerglings probably attacking this gateway. The Zealot doesn't want to move, and until that Stalker's out, he's going to be taking some damage out of that gateway. We also have this pylon, and that's a free kill right now. And look, he's just going to take it. He's actually not going to be moving up to the gateway, trying to take that, but Zealot moving out, and this is a little bit dangerous as well. They're going to be moving around, killing the worker, and heading straight into the main. Adel needs to be careful getting a surround on that probe and manages to pull in. So 2 games in a row, Nerchio managing to sneak into Adel's base, and